Picture this. It's exactly 4 p.m. on a Sunday.
Ah, the classic Sunday afternoon.
Right. The sun is shining, the weather is perfect, maybe the leaves are turning that crisp autumn color. You're trying to just be a normal human being, you know?
Just trying to relax.
Exactly. You're on a quiet walk, or maybe you're sitting on the porch with a cappuccino. You are completely safe. You are fed. But then, somewhere deep in the back of your mind, this countdown clock starts ticking.
I know that feeling so well.
It begins as this faint hum in your belly. Then your chest tightens, your breathing gets just a little bit shallower, and without even realizing it, you find yourself reaching for your phone.
Yep, and not because you actually need to check an email.
No, not at all. It's because your nervous system is like suddenly bracing for impact.
You are mentally putting on a suit of armor to fight a battle that consists entirely of, Outlook invites, Jira tickets, and that one colleague who replies, thoughts, to every single email thread.
Oh, yes, the thoughts email. It's a very specific, deeply visceral feeling.
It really is.
It is the Sunday night dread. And if you felt that creeping tightness in your chest, you are in exactly the right place today.
Because today is a big one.
It is. Today, we are kicking off a massive journey. This deep dive is part 1 of an 11-part cinematic series where we are exploring every single chapter of Breeze Dong's fascinating book, A Soulful Transition, Finding Heart-Led Career in the Age of AI.
It's just such a brilliant roadmap for navigating the modern workplace.
It totally is. And today, we're starting right at the foundation, which is that overwhelming Sunday afternoon anxiety.
I mean, it's really the only place to start, because it captures the central tension so many professionals are feeling right now.
Right.
You've theoretically, you have the title, the decent salary, the glowing LinkedIn recommendations.
You followed the script perfectly.
Exactly. But you carry around this nagging suspicion that you're trapped in a high-speed machine that doesn't actually know where it's going. And worse, you suspect the machine might be on the verge of replacing you entirely.
Okay, let's unpack this, because early on in the journey, there's this brilliant concept of a corporate koan that just stops you in your tracks.
Oh, I love the corporate koan.
For those who aren't familiar, a koan is a Zen Buddhist riddle. Like, what is the sound of one hand clapping? It's designed to break your normal way of logical thinking.
Right, it forces you out of your analytical brain.
Yeah, and the corporate version of that riddle in the book is this. If you finally reach inbox 0, but your soul feels like a desolate parking lot, are you actually productive?
Oof. That paradox really strikes a nerve, doesn't it?
It really does.
What's so powerful about facing that riddle is the radical compassion that comes with it. Because if your soul feels like that desolate parking lot, the exhaustion you are feeling is not a sign of personal weakness.
It's not just you failing at time management.
No, not at all. It is a sign of biology. It's your ancient nervous system trying to survive a modern environment it was absolutely never designed to inhabit. You're not crazy, and you're not broken. It's just a biological mismatch.
So to really wrap our heads around this biological mismatch, I think we need to move from that abstract feeling of a tight chest to a concrete example. We need to look at how this actually hijacks our lives.
Yeah, let's look at the archetype of David from the book.
Yes, David.
David is a great lens for this. He's a composite of several brilliant, high-achieving leaders. So imagine a 42-year-old VP of product at a mid-sized tech company. He's smart, he wants to be empathetic, and he is profoundly, quietly exhausted.
He's the ultimate company persona.
Exactly. If you ran into him at a conference, he'd smile brightly and tell you everything is like scaling, living the dream. He reads Atomic Habits, he meditates.
Or, well, at least he pays for a meditation app that sits on his home screen.
Right next to his Slack app, which is constantly showing 14 unread notifications.
Oh man, precisely the problem.
On the outside, he's thriving. But inside, David is drowning. Let's look at his Sunday spiral. It's Sunday afternoon, and he's watching his daughter play basketball.
Physically, he is in the bleachers. He's clapping when she scores.
But mentally, David is trapped in Tuesday's quarterly business review, the QBR. Because on Friday afternoon, his CEO made this passing offhand comment. The CEO just said, "We need to do more with less this quarter."
Oof, more with less. That is the ultimate corporate trigger phrase.
It really is.
And if you're listening right now, think about the phrase that sets you off. Maybe it's, can we chat? Or just following up on this.
We all have one. And when David hears his trigger phrase, it sends his brain spinning into a simulation running at 100 miles per hour.
Right. Trace that mental cascade.
So the CEO says less. David's brain immediately asks, does less mean layoffs? Does it mean my specific budget is getting cut?
And if my budget is cut, how do I deliver the new AI integration roadmap?
Exactly. And if I don't deliver the roadmap, am I suddenly obsolete? And if I'm obsolete, well, how do I pay the mortgage on this house?
It's wild.
By the time the buzzer sounds on his daughter's game, David's cortisol levels are just as high as if he were actively being hunted by a predator in the wild.
Wow. So he's snapping at his wife on the drive home. He skips dinner to get a quote-unquote head start on emails. But wait a minute, I got to push back here.
Go for it.
Because when my brain does that kind of spiraling, I usually tell myself I'm just being proactive. Isn't that the whole point of being a professional?
You'd think so, right?
Yeah. We are explicitly taught to anticipate variables and plan for contingencies. It feels like David's brain is a computer, and he's just opening 50 different browser tabs of worst-case scenarios, frantically trying to find solutions for all of them before his internal system crashes.
It is incredibly common to disguise that panic as being proactive. But we really have to clarify something vital about that browser tab analogy.
Okay, what is it?
David isn't proactively solving problems. He's being biologically hijacked. He's treating his brain like a supercomputer that just needs to run faster and process more variables to keep up with the market.
Right.
But the human brain is not a computer. It is a survival engine. And it's a survival engine that hasn't had a firmware update in about 200,000 years.
Okay, since his brain is running on ancient firmware, we really need to look under the hood here. Why does a vague comment from a tech CEO trigger a physical, literal, life or death survival response?
Those neuroscientists actually look at this as an evolutionary hangover. There's a fundamental truth about human evolution. Our ancestors didn't pass on their genes by sitting around feeling chill and admiring the sunset.
No, of course not.
They survived by noticing the rustle in the bushes that might be a tiger. They survived by being profoundly paranoid.
Ah, the classic negativity bias.
That's the one. The brain is effectively Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones.
Velcro for negative, Teflons for positive. I love that.
In the wild, this isn't a defect, It's a highly effective feature that keeps you alive. But in a modern corporate environment, this exact feature becomes a devastating bug.
How so?
It all comes down to a region in the prefrontal cortex known as the simulator. You think of it as a virtual reality arcade inside your head that constantly runs mini-movies of what might happen, just to keep you prepared for danger.
Oh, wow. So when David is sitting at that basketball game, his simulator isn't running a pleasant movie about a relaxing family dinner.
No, definitely not.
It's screening a high-definition horror movie titled The Crash of the Tuesday QBR.
That is the exact mechanism. The input is the CEO saying, do more with less. The simulation immediately runs the worst-case sequence budget cuts, leading to failed projects, leading to public humiliation, ending in destitution.
It just spirals instantly.
Yes. And here is the tragic biological flaw in this entire setup. Your brain's alarm center, the amygdala, cannot tell the difference between a simulated threat and a real one.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. The amygdala is basically acting like an overly sensitive smoke detector.
Yes, exactly.
It goes off and it completely lacks the nuance to care if the house is actually burning down or if you just burnt a piece of toast in the toaster. The alarm bells ring at the exact same volume.
That is a perfect way to visualize the amygdala hijack. When the simulator runs that vivid job loss movie, the amygdala screams, danger, and triggers the sympathetic nervous system.
Which is the fight or flight response.
Right. David is sitting in a folding chair in suburbia. There is no tiger, but his body is flooded with adrenaline and cortisol. His digestion shuts down, which is that sudden knot you feel in your stomach.
Oh, I hate that feeling.
His vision literally narrows. His heart rate spikes. He is biologically prepared to physically fight a wolf. But as the core philosophy here points out, you cannot punch a spreadsheet. You cannot run away from an email.
You cannot punch a spreadsheet.
Wow.
Because there is nowhere to physically run, all that massive physiological energy just gets trapped in the body.
Exactly. And it turns into inflammation, insomnia, and that incredibly heavy Sunday dread.
But I want to dig into the mechanics of this because I know the book talks about 3 specific ancient survival strategies our brains rely on: separating, stabilizing, and approaching or avoiding.
Right.
So if these kept our ancestors alive, how do they create so much anxiety on a Sunday night?
Well, because in an office environment, those physical strategies get mapped onto entirely abstract concepts, and they just go haywire. Let's look at the first one, separating.
Okay, separating.
In the wild, This means drawing a hard boundary between me and the world to protect your physical perimeter. If you don't secure your borders, you die.
Makes sense?
But at work, this mutates into feeling utterly isolated in your responsibility. When stress hits, you build a wall. You tell yourself, nobody else understands this. It's all on me to fix this project.
You think you're protecting yourself, but you're just cutting yourself off from your team.
Exactly. You become a silo of anxiety.
What about stabilizing?
So stabilizing is the biological desire to keep things exactly the same. For an early human, routine meant safety. Knowing exactly where the water source is, knowing exactly where the predators hunt.
Any change in the environment could be lethal.
Right. But in the corporate world, this biological need for sameness turns into a deep, irrational terror of any organizational change. A new AI rollout or a management reorganization feels like the water source drying up.
Wow.
Your brain fights it not because it's a bad business move, but because it is different.
And the third one? Approaching and avoiding.
That's the instinct to chase carrots like food and dodge sticks like predators. On a Sunday night, your brain isn't thinking about the long-term vision of your career. It is reverted to basic avoidance.
You're just frantically trying to dodge the stick of failure before Monday morning even begins.
Yes. So all these ancient wires cross. You get the uncertainty trigger, like a weird look from the boss.
Yeah.
The simulator assumes the worst. The amygdala hits the smoke alarm. And then we enter what is called processing mode.
Processing mode. That's the trap, isn't it?
It is. We feel that physical discomfort, and we frantically try to work our way out of it. We check emails at 10 p.m., or we over-prepare slide decks that no one will ever read.
David thinks he is working. In reality, he's just self-medicating his anxiety with meaningless busyness.
Which feeds into a phenomenon known as the bottomless bucket.
Oh, the bottomless bucket. Explain that.
It's a part of our psyche that consumes tasks and external validation to feel safe. But it has a hole in the bottom. No matter how many emails you send, the bucket never fills up. The anxiety always returns.
This biological short-circuiting is exhausting just to talk about.
I know, right?
But the reality is, we aren't just fighting our own biology. We are fighting the modern ecosystem we work in. The environment itself is pouring gasoline on the fire.
Which brings us to the modern epidemic of collaborative overload. If you look at research from the Harvard Business Review, it shows that knowledge workers now spend 80% or more of their time in collaborative activities.
80%?
Yes, we're talking about back-to-back meetings, overflowing inboxes, and endless real-time Slack threads.
80% of the day just communicating.
We are frantically communicating about the work, but we rarely have the silence or the cognitive space to actually do the work.
Right.
And there's a deep connection here to the Buddhist concept of dukkha. It's the first noble truth. It is often translated simply as suffering. But when you apply it to the corporate world, a much better translation is unsatisfactoriness or stress.
Okay, stress.
Yeah, the literal root of the word refers to an axle hole that is not quite centered on a wheel.
Oh, so every time the wheel turns, there's a bump, a grind.
Exactly. It's a bumpy, exhausting ride. Collaborative overload is modern dukkha. You are running on a hamster wheel, burning massive amounts of caloric energy, processing fragmented data from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
And yet, at the end of the day, you look at your screen and feel entirely empty, like you accomplished nothing of substance.
Precisely.
So what does this all mean? We have this 200,000-year-old brain. We're stuck in a relentless ecosystem of collaborative overload, and we are operating in processing mode driven by our fight-or-flight sympathetic nervous system.
It's a mess.
It is. And when you step back, the irony of our coping mechanisms is almost painful. We try to solve this exhaustion by trying to become better robots. We buy rigid productivity planners, we memorize keyboard shortcuts, we optimize our REM sleep so we can wake up at 4:30 a.m. just to clear out our inbox before the day starts.
The hustle culture trap.
But wait, the actual robots are already here. ChatGPT can summarize a 45-minute meeting transcript before I even manage to find the unmute button on my headset.
You're hitting on the core problem of the modern professional right there. It is the ultimate cosmic joke.
Seriously.
If your strategy for career survival is, I will process information faster and sort data more accurately than everyone else, that is a race you're biologically guaranteed to lose.
Yeah, a generative AI will write that multi-paragraph email while you're still pouring your first cup of coffee.
Exactly. If you try to compete with the machine on the battlefield of processing, two things will inevitably happen. First, you will burn out completely. And second, you will be replaced.
Because AI thrives precisely in that domain. Logic, speed, and data sorting. That is its home turf.
So if we are guaranteed to lose the processing race against an algorithm, we have to completely change the game we're playing. We have to fundamentally switch our mental operating system.
Okay, this is huge. This is the turning point of this whole philosophy, isn't it?
Yes, your career transition in the age of AI does not start with learning a new hard skill or a new coding language. It starts with accessing an entirely different operating system within your own biology.
Moving from processing mode into what they call presencing mode.
Exactly. We have to consciously move into presencing mode.
So let's break down the mechanics of presencing mode.
Well, where processing mode is driven by the sympathetic nervous system, that narrow, reactive, fair-putting-out survival state, presencing mode, is driven by the parasympathetic nervous system, the PNS, and the prefrontal cortex.
The rest and digest system.
Or the tendon-to-friend system. Its biological focus is entirely different. It is wide, it is receptive, and it's intrinsically connection-based. When you are in presencing mode, you have the capacity to listen to what is not being said in a room. You can hold space for high-level complexity without instantly rushing to force a mediocre solution just to relieve your anxiety.
Let's make this concrete for you listening. Let's bring David back into the picture, back to that infamous Tuesday QBR meeting. We know what happens if he stays in processing mode, right? He argues, he defends slide 14, the VP of sales gets defensive, and absolutely nothing is solved.
Right, it's just a collision of egos.
But what is the alternate ending? What happens mechanically if David uses presencing mode?
It changes the entire biological temperature of the room. In this alternate scene, the numbers are down, the CEO is agitated, and the VP of sales is openly blaming product.
High stress.
Very high stress. If David shifts to presencing mode, he still feels that initial primal urge to fight back, but he catches it. He uses a biological circuit breaker. He takes a micropause, maybe just 3 seconds, so fast nobody else around the table even notices.
Okay, wait, let me just stop you there and play devil's advocate for a second. Taking 3 deep breaths and feeling your feet on the floor sounds lovely if you were on a yoga retreat. But if you do that in a hostile boardroom when millions of dollars are on the line, aren't you going to look completely passive? It feels like a very quick way to get eaten alive in corporate culture.
Oh, it is a totally valid fear.
Yeah.
But we have to look at what is actually happening beneath the surface here. It's not passive. It's the ultimate premium asset.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyone can learn Python. Anyone can take a weekend course in prompt engineering. But true presence, emotional regulation under fire, that is exceptionally rare.
That's a good point.
When David takes that pause, he drops his awareness out of his spinning, panicking head and down into his physical body. He feels his feet on the floor. He feels his hands resting on the oak table. He notices the physical sensation of his breath.
And what does that actually do? Biologically, I mean.
It activates his parasympathetic nervous system. It sends a literal biological signal to his brain saying, "You are safe. There is no tiger in this room. This is just a meeting with bad coffee." And here is the magic of human neurobiology. Nervous systems co-regulate. By regulating his own nervous system, David changes the signals he is broadcasting to the room.
Oh, because when the VP of sales is yelling, her sympathetic nervous system is firing. If David yells back, they escalate.
Exactly. But from a place of stillness, David stops listening to the aggressive words being yelled, and he starts listening to the energy. He realizes the VP of sales isn't attacking him. She's just terrified of missing her quarterly quota.
Because AI doesn't have mirror neurons.
Boom. Exactly the point. Human brains have specialized cells called mirror neurons that allow us to deeply physically resonate with another person's pain, fear, or joy. AI is a brilliant text-generating machine, but it has no heart.
Right.
It has no intuition. It cannot look a client in the eye, read the micro-expressions on their face, and sense that they are secretly afraid of losing their legacy.
Yeah, AI can simulate empathy with a well-crafted prompt, but it cannot feel it.
And that is why Soul is your best career insurance. In that boardroom, David uses his humanity. He senses the room is terrified. And because he's grounded, he asks a transformative question.
What does he ask?
He says, "It feels like we are all trying to solve for safety right now. What if we stopped debating whose fault the churn is and looked at what our customers are actually begging us to build?"
Wow, he totally diffuses the room.
Yes. Your career transition is about doubling down on what makes you undeniably human. The Sunday night dread isn't a sign you need to hustle harder. It's just your soul telling you that your brain has spent way too long in the red zone of survival.
It's time to resign from being a robot and apply for the job of being a human.
Beautifully put.
I love that line. Resign from the job of being a robot and apply for the job of being a human. That is such a profound shift in perspective.
It really is.
And to actually make this shift, there are some highly practical biological action steps the book gives us to take before you even open your laptop tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it all comes together in what's called the Monday morning reset. It starts with part 1, the energy audit. You literally draw a line down the middle of a piece of paper. On the left side, you write the drain.
The drain.
This is your robot work. You list every task you did last week that made your stomach physically tighten.
Oh, like that endless 8-reply email battle with legal that absolutely could have been a 5-minute phone call.
That is a perfect example. Tasks where you are reactive, defensive, and repetitive. And the golden rule for this audit is crucial. If a task is on the drain list and it involves logic, data sorting, or basic processing, it can likely be done by an AI.
So you let the robots do the robot work.
Yes, your goal over time is to automate it, delegate it, or delete it. Then, on the right side of the paper, you write the spark.
The deeply human work.
The moments where time disappeared, where you found a genuine flow state, mentoring a junior colleague who was struggling, solving a messy, complex problem on a whiteboard with a trusted friend.
Having a moment of shared, unscripted laughter with a client.
Exactly, that right column. That is your future. That is the premium work you need to aggressively protect and expand.
And the second part of this reset is the 3 breaths technique. Because as we established with the smoke detector analogy, you cannot just think your way out of an amygdala hijack. You have to physically breathe your way out of it.
The mechanics of this are pure neurobiology, centering around the vagus nerve.
The vagus nerve.
Yeah, it acts as an information highway connecting your brain to your heart and your gut. And crucially, it acts as the brake pedal for your heart rate.
Okay, how does that work?
When you inhale, your heart beats slightly faster. When you exhale, it slows down. So before you open your laptop on Monday, before that very first Slack ping hits, you take control of that brake pedal. You inhale deeply for a count of 4. Gather up all that scattered Sunday dread.
Just breathe it all in.
Right. You hold that breath for a count of 4, and then you exhale very slowly for a count of 8.
So that extended exhale is literally forcing the brake pedal down.
Yes. The long exhale physically commands the vagus nerve to tell your heart to slow down. It pulls you out of the sympathetic nervous system and drops you right into presencing mode. You do this specific breathing pattern 3 times.
And while you do it, there is a perfect mantra to internalize. I highly recommend writing this on a Post-it note and sticking it right to the edge of your monitor. Are you ready?
Let's hear it.
Thank you for trying to protect me, but there are no tigers here, only emails.
I love that so much. It's a brilliant way to acknowledge your ancient biology without letting it ruin your modern life.
What a profound way to kick off this series. We started by unpacking the ancient biology behind why our chests tighten at 4 p.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We really have. We explored how the negativity bias and our brain's internal simulator trap us in an algorithm of anxiety, constantly bracing for a tiger that is actually just a spreadsheet.
Right.
And we realized that trying to solve this modern exhaustion by outprocessing AI is a guaranteed losing game. The only true path forward, the real career insurance, is cultivating our uniquely human soul through presencing.
And as we wrap up this very first chapter of the journey, I want to leave you with a final thought to take into your week.
Oh yes, please do.
Imagine if you successfully audited your energy tonight. Imagine you actually managed to hand all of your logic-based, drained tasks over to an AI tomorrow morning.
Okay, I'm imagining it.
What is the terrifying, beautiful, messy, deeply human work you would finally be forced to face? Have you perhaps been using frantic busyness as a shield to avoid finding out?
Oh, wow. That is a heavy, beautiful question to sit with. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 1 of this 11-part cinematic journey into a soulful transition.
It's been great.
Our exploration of this human work has only just begun. So next time it's Sunday afternoon, the sun is shining, and you have that cappuccino in hand, take a deep breath. Exhale for 8 counts. Remember, there are no tigers in the bushes. We'll see you on the next deep dive.